You can hear me. Go ahead. Testing, testing. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to formally open our joint commission meeting between the Library and Education Commission and Youth Commission. Introducing the commission, Youth Commission Chair is, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Kudrowski. I am the Chair and Citywide Youth Commissioner of San Jose Youth Commission. I'm very pleased to be able to welcome you all to our meeting tonight, and I hope your week has been off to a great start.
And I am the Chair of the Library Commission, Angelica Ramos, and I'm happy to welcome all of you all today on behalf of the Library and Education Commission. So I will call this meeting to order at 6:39 p.m. For the Library and Education Commission.
And the Youth Commission calls this meeting to order at 6:39 p.m.
Cassie, could you take roll, please?
Chair Ramos,
Here.
Vice Chair Banks,
Here.
Commissioner Wolf, Commissioner Westphal,
Here.
Commissioner Abastida,
Here.
Commissioner Bonsenbrook, Commissioner Sundal,
Here.
Commissioner Mendoza,
Present.
Commissioner Rooney,
Here.
Commissioner McCrary, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Bustamante,
Here.
Commissioner Baker, and we have quorum.
Right, for the commission, Chair Kudrowski. Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar. Present. Present. Commissioner Deshmukh. Present. Commissioner Sanchez. Commissioner Babu. Present. Commissioner Guerrero. Commissioner Canfield. Present. Commissioner Huang.
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez Nunes. Commissioner Yu. Present. Commissioner Frick.
Present.
You have quorum.
Thank you. So next on our agenda is ceremonial ceremonial presentation. Got a ceremonial presentation, and I will turn the mic over to our library director, Jill Warren.
Thank you. Chair Ramos, can everybody hear me? Yeah, great. So, thank you, Chair Ramos and Chair Kudrowski. Good evening, everybody. So nice to see so many people in the audience. I'm so happy to be here tonight with both of our Library and Education Commission and our Youth Commission for this special joint meeting. I'm also excited to be here for an inaugural presentation of the San Jose Public Library Educator of the Year Award. As the city's education initiative leader, the San Jose Public Library is honored to celebrate local educators and extraordinary professionals who cultivate lifelong passions for learning in and outside of the classroom. We are delighted to present a special award to the 5 distinguished educators whose extraordinary work and passion have made a lasting impact in our community and has touched the lives of so many students. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank the San Jose Public Library Foundation for their generous gift for this year's winners, which was presented to them in the summer. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce or invite our commission liaisons, Councilmember Kamei and Councilmember Campos, to present tonight's honored educators with their awards.
This is extremely exciting.
As the City of San Jose Council liaisons for the Library and Education Commission and the Youth Commission, we celebrate educational excellence that transforms our community and encourages students to build better futures. In May of 2025, during Teacher Appreciation Week, San Jose Public Library presented the inaugural Educator of the Year Awards. This new annual recognition honors outstanding TK through 12 teachers who have made meaningful differences in their students' lives. Over 100 nominations were submitted across San Jose who represent the diversity of our students and school districts. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Campos.
Thank you, Councilmember Kamei. I am excited to present the first of our 5 awards to a District 2 teacher and leader, Annika Moss. Our first Educator of the Year proudly serves students in my district. They display all the qualities that you would expect from an innovative educator who is committed to education excellence. Annika Moss has successfully merged 5th and 6th grade classrooms at Del Roble Elementary using cross-grade collaboration and bilingual education to create a supportive learning environment that builds students' confidence and inspires them to learn. They have created a support space that fosters a sense of curiosity and nurtures a desire to learn within our students. And I want to thank Annika for your commitment and service to our students at Del Roble Elementary.
Come on up.
Quiero dar las gracias a Mayra y las personas quien me nominaron. Es un gran honor aceptar esta reconocimiento y estoy muy agradecida. Gracias por dar cuenta de todo lo que pasa entre las paredes de clase bilingüe y combinado desde quinto y sexto. Es muy difícil y estoy muy agradecida por recibir esto. A lo largo de mi enseñanza, a mí me he dado cuenta que lo más importante a mí es que a los niños les gusta aprender y aprender nuevas cosas y que quiero apoyar a los padres de enseñar a crear buenos humanos quienes están pasando respeto, la responsabilidad, la empatía y perseverancia. I want to thank Mayra and all the parents that nominated me. It's a great honor to receive this award for me. And I'm thankful that they understand all the difficulties that occur in a bilingual class that's self-contained and a 5-6 combination. And through my years of teaching, what's most important to me is that the children have a love of learning and continue to want to learn new things, and that I want to help the parents create good human beings who are respectful, responsible, empathetic, and persevere. Thank you.
Now, the next recipient is Joan Paul Margaret, Gardner Elementary School from the San Jose Unified School District in D6. Joan is a bilingual immersion teacher who transforms learning through passionate reading instruction, personalized student support, and holistic approach that builds strong relationships and academic excellence while engaging students and parents. Thank you so much, Joan, for all your contributions. Why don't you come on up? I apologize for my pronunciation.
I just want to say thank you to all my coworkers that they trust me. Also, all the human resources that they accept me, coming from another country. In this position, I want to encourage all our students that they are immigrants as me. I'm from Spain, so I wish that with this energy and power that we have as a teachers and how we can encourage and push all the students to continue working and growing and believing in dreams that they can dream big and they need to continue writing as they are doing right now. Thank you so much.
The next awardee is, we would like to congratulate Ashley Martin, Robert Sanders Elementary in the Mount Pleasant Elementary School District in San Jose District Number 5. Unfortunately, Ashley was not able to attend, but we want to give her a hand and a round of applause. Is Erica Gill, Herbert Hoover Middle School in the San Jose Unified School District, which is in Council District number 6. Principal Andrew Anstead is attending in her stead since she will not be able to attend. And we ask Principal Andrew Anstead to come forward.
Trust me, you'd rather hear from her. But it is a delight. She's a very good friend of mine. And yeah, she's on her way back from traveling from Washington DC. So wish her safe travel. So good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. A. I go by Andrew and Mr. A. I'm honored to stand in front of all of you for our remarkable teacher, Erica Gill, who humbly accepts this Teacher of the Year award. Erica would insist this recognition belongs to our entire Hoover community. Her students, colleagues, and families who make her work possible with quiet dedication, she really does weave English and Spanish into a classroom where bilingualism empowers our Hawks to grow and connect. This award really does reflect her passion and transformative work that she does every day. On her behalf, I thank you all, and she asks that we celebrate the power of TWIVI, our two-way bilingual immersion program together, and thank you, Go Hawks.
So, last but not least is Michelle, and I hope I pronounced this correctly, Chanelek, Evergreen Valley High School, Eastside Union High School District in our Council District number 6. Michelle is an AP World History teacher who makes challenging content accessible, creates a supportive classroom environment, and helps students excel academically while prioritizing their mental well-being and personal development. We are so proud to have Michelle Chanelek here today. Come on up.
Thank you guys so much. This is very amazing that San Jose Public Library is honoring teachers. And I really wanted to say mostly thank you to my students who are wonderful. I love teaching. This is my 14th year teaching. And I really enjoy what I do. And so that they feel like welcomed and supported in my classroom is like the best recognition of all. So thank you guys very much.
You know, I spent many, many years on the County Board of Education, and we also did the awards to teachers, and it was the Oscars of you know, sort of like celebrating teachers and all the work that they do. But this is really wonderful that the San Jose Public Library has also recognized the power of teachers and the impact that you make in our community, to our students, in our schools, and in our community as a whole. So I'm going to turn it over to our Councilmember Campos to close this off.
Thank you. This definitely felt better than the Oscars. So I just want to share that through the library's leadership of our education and digital strategy and the Children and Youth Master Plan, we are raising the next generation of leaders. And these teachers embody that mission. Thank you to the San Jose Public Library Foundation for their generous support. By honoring excellence in teaching, we are investing in the leaders, innovators, and citizens that our community needs. Please join us in giving these 5 outstanding educators a round of applause.
I also want to invite our colleague, Councilmember Candelas, to join us here as well.
Yeah, I don't have the privilege of being an educator, but one of my educators from my alma mater, Evergreen Valley High School, is one of the awardees. So that's why I'm here to support her and just make it in time for the picture. So.
One time.
All right.
We get it, Anthony? We're good. Well, it's just the forest or what?
Thank you to our educators and to our council members who are here in support. I'm going to keep this train moving because that's my job. So next item on our agenda is the consent calendar. Item number 3 on our agenda, and our joint agenda, is the consent calendar. Is there any discussion of the consent calendar for anyone on the Library and Education Commission or the Youth Commission? All right, well, Chair Kucharewski and I are going to ask each of our commissions to approve the consent calendar, and so do we have a motion for the Library and Education Commission? Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? I see Commissioner Roney as the mover and Abastida for the second. All in favor? Say, will commissioners say aye?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes, and I'll pass it over to you.
All right, now for the Youth Commission side, we will move to a vote to approve the consent calendar. Do we have any motions?
Commissioner Park motion.
Any seconds?
Yeah, that's spot on. Thank you.
All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose? All those abstaining? This motion passes.
Item number 4 on the Joint Commission agenda is our open forum. Members of the public are invited to speak on any item that does not appear on today's agenda and that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Meeting attendees are given 2 minutes to speak on any discussion item and or during open forum. Speakers using a translator will be given twice the time allotted to ensure non-English speakers receive the same opportunity to directly address the committee, board, or commission. Is there any public comment for open forum?
We do have one comment for our open forum, Taye.
Come on up, you have 2 minutes.
I don't have any.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 5 is our discussion and action items. Agenda item A is our facilities and customer experience plan. And I think Margaret Sullivan is with us again.
That is correct. So, as she gets into place, I will, just remind the commission that I believe we each have a couple of updates as we've gone through this journey over the last 9 months, I believe. And everything from participating in a truly amazing partner breakfast that we had in the summer to design, charrettes and conversations to meetings here with the commissions. And so, after all of that work, we're so close. And, Margaret is here tonight to review with you the latest and almost completed, study of the plan as it exists today, which will guide our thinking for the next many, many years in our libraries. Over to you, Margaret. Thank you.
Yeah, can y'all hear me? No. Oh, I have to get it really up here. Okay. Just signal to me if it goes down. Well, it's so great to be with y'all. What a celebratory night, to be with y'all, to present this phenomenal plan. It hasn't been that long since we last met, but we have been very busy, and thank you to all the folks in the room who have continued to support this effort, as we get to the final aspect. So today we're going to take you through okay, try this one. Let's see, this is getting us. All right. So we're going to do just some context setting with, again, just a recap of the overview methodology, what we learned. We're going to get to some of the development that we've made around the system-wide branch locations. We've got some fun updates for King. And then approach to the growth that, again, I think can really take us forward for the next year and the next 20 years. So it's a really, really creative, inspiring and dynamic and smart plan that we've developed. So when we started this work, how we first developed it with a series of questions about what is a facilities master planning process. The first is articulating the role and purpose for our facilities for today and for the future. The second was we wanted to determine whether the sizes of the facilities are serving the community's needs. We wanted to create a process of co-creation with community partners and staff to invigorate and use their smarts to contribute to the plan. And then finally, really capitalize and leverage innovative opportunities for funding and partnerships. That took us to another series of critical inquiry questions, which had us ask and go into the community to how should our libraries be designed to serve the communities most effectively? Can the libraries as currently designed adapt to these new service models that we're learning? Do we need to grow our reach and how do we want to grow? And then again, just echoing, what are the philanthropic opportunities? The process was really used some significant robust tools, strategic research, not just on the library strategies, but also on county and citywide development strategies. we really enjoyed, geeking out on the equity index work that you all are doing to really inform, an equity-based approach to development. And then really just using, new frameworks, the questionnaire to the branches, really capitalizing on the librarians' knowledge of their communities, and using co-creating processing, to inform this inclusive design process that is holistic and physical position SJPL as an equity-driven economic development engine for the city and the county. You all should be very proud, as Jill remarked, on all of the engagement in really just a short time, in about 3 months of planning. Almost 5,000 diverse voices were heard and contributed into the plan. Many of the community partners we had multiple touch points with. And I think not only, I think when we started this work, we said this isn't about a discrete engagement with community members and community partners. It's the beginning of long-term engagement, to continue, their successful implementation. So we learned so much. So not only did the staff, we really were able to use human-centered workshopping, but we also learned that the facilities needed to be more adaptable, more flexible, and to offer concurrent programming to optimize the educational and digital equity strategy. But also in the 3 workshops for the staff, they learned how to co-design enriching experiences, that they can even implement now, to really start playing with the buildings and preparing, for the success when capital investments, are made available, to activate customer experience techniques. The other thing that was really interesting that we learned, not just through the community survey, but through conversations, is that you all use your libraries across the system. Sometimes many of you all are using 3 to 4 libraries, in a complementary way. So that enabled us to realize that we could really design customized experience that would provide a whole, complement of experiences for the system. How many of you all use multiple libraries? I mean, everybody in the room, so that's great. So the other thing is we in the community survey, we provided about 40 different space types. And these are the space types that rose to the top. Huge desire for outdoor spaces. We're seeing that across the country, especially post-COVID. Reading gardens, community gardens, trails, nature walks. Spaces for domestic programs, spaces for quiet work and study. You can't have enough meeting rooms in libraries these days. A really interesting evolution in public libraries is designing experiences for personal health and well-being, but then just places for being social and gathering. And then we also did a visioning question in the survey. The goal of the public library and facilities is to create a more blank, we love our Mad Libs, San Jose, and not surprisingly, literate rose to the top when we looked at those, all of the surveys as a whole. But what's really even more fun for us, again, as we see that each neighborhood already has unique identities, is when you look at some of the specific locations, their different value systems that each location rose to the top. So Curious at Tully, I'll Be So Healthy, and Bascom Literate. So you start to see those distinguishing characteristics. Viva Calle, you all went, how many, which of the 1,000 plus, we got such great feedback. It was just such a delightful and celebratory creative day. I think the biggest takeaway from that event was not only do people love you all, they love the library, you are a trusted resource, trusted institution, but they want you to do everything under one roof. From conventional library services to unconventional library services. So social, recreational, leisure is really important. The partner breakfast, that's it. There we go. Okay, I think it's just me. At the partner breakfast, three critical things. Partners appreciate the trust and reach that the libraries offer because you're really located in every single neighborhood. That by introducing a quality of life framework at that breakfast, folks got inspired about even deepening and strengthening partnership opportunities. And third, they need your buildings. You are a valuable resource to your partners as a place-based programming partner, and you will bring eminent value to them for many, many, many years to come. So among the focus groups and city and county leaders, we also learned that SJPL is a trusted and respected engine for lifelong education, career pathways, and economic development. And I think of the groups that we met with, what was interesting is that the technology group was the largest group represented, which I think also really speaks to how successful your digital equity strategy is. And that also informs that your buildings can be places of content creation, not just teaching basic skills. So we let that take away. Let's see. Oh, some of these quotes were quite resonant, particularly with me as we were developing this plan. And I think when we met with Teresa Alvarado, when she said, we've lost a bit of our soul, we need to peel the layers back and bring our soul back to the community. That negative, we really turned into a positive of understanding that the library is a place where stories of this community are told, celebrated, made, and reflected upon. And that distinguishing characteristics is really special. We wanted to really drive that theme home. So a lot of the community-driven work and staff-driven work formed this framework where we see the role and purpose of the facilities being centered around that soul of San Jose, with strategic roles serving as city as connected communities, city as classroom, city as cultural celebration, and thanks to these folks over on the left side of the room, city as civic activator. And then with key focus areas that we brought into the partner breakfast, these areas of focus are also a framework in which to activate the facilities and also strengthen opportunities for partnerships. On the right of the slide, starting. There we go. Back again. On the right of the slide, you'll see the strategic recipe for activating experiences, really centering the community with a variety of spaces. Variety. All right, there we go. Okay, we'll try this again. Is this working? Yes. Okay. All right, with a variety of spaces and places that can be applied to each one of the locations for the recipe that is customized for each one of the locations. So then we look at the facilities, and again, the reach is great. You're in almost every part of the city. There are pockets that you can see that still have gaps. You have a hub and spoke system with King as your main library, and then the branches. So the other aspect, this is a very responsible time to do this work, because another aspect that we want to be paying attention to when you do facilities planning is that every 30 years, there is substantial investment that is needed in facilities to upgrade the infrastructure. And many of you all have been going to the parties throughout town of the 20-year library celebrations. So 10 years ahead is a great time to be doing this kind of work to really get yourself positioned for those investments. When we look at your facilities, to answer the questions, are they adaptable and flexible for the reimagining that this plan will call for? The libraries that are 15,000 square feet and above are really well suited for that. Your co-location libraries with community centers are also really great for the synergies that we've identified. King we've treated a little bit differently, but anything, these small libraries and the medium libraries that are under 15,000 square feet, they have great value, but in we study them, they really serve like a one-room schoolhouse. They can do one thing really well. So as we develop the branch applications and the long-term strategies for them, that's the way we start taking care of them. One of the most interesting, I wonder if we can move. Thank you. One of the most interesting analyses that we did was, when we looked, and again, we separated because it's its own animal, so to speak. But when we looked at the branches and the current size of the branches, national best practices for square feet per population served is about 0.5 square feet to 0.75 square feet. And when you look at the branches, you can see how many of them are underserving their communities in that measure of that size standard. So what we learned is that to minimally meet the 0.5 square feet per population served, 140,000 residents are not being served. And then to meet the 0.75, that's 357,000 residents, for a total of 497,000 residents that aren't being served adequately based on that standard, based on their standard. So this also translates into a gap of almost 400,000 square feet of public library real estate that can be added to the system to meet this national best practice standard. It's not the main driver, but it's an interesting analysis that I think is useful for you all to know when buildings aren't meeting the needs of the community. This is one factor that plays into that. So with King, we investigated it a little bit differently. Just every single time you walk into this building, the vibrancy of this joint use facility is palpable. Just wonderful to see the variety of age groups coming in for a variety of services. The building is 475,000 square feet. And when you really analyze where the public library has its most freedom to program and design the space, it's about 110,000 square feet. So it's just good to kind of understand again how the size and scale works in a very unique and probably one of the only main libraries in the country that really operates like you all operate. So when we were looking at potential for Maine, we also were looking at across the country, what are some of the innovations that we're seeing in central libraries that create destination features, from Philadelphia with a culinary kitchen to DC Public Library that has a dance space that you see at the bottom, to Aarhus in Denmark that has a very large black box theater, exhibit spaces in DC, and the two images at the bottom are at Richland Library with a woodworking studio and a film theater this tier. So what we were looking at is how can we take that 110,000 square feet that you all have the most flexibility and freedom to play with and really animate and activate it with flexible furnishings, zoning, to really echo the strategic roles that we've identified. And so on floor 1, 2, and 3, we've created a vision for floor 1 about this library as the cultural center, floor 2 as the library of Soul of San Jose, but we're calling it, with connected communities and civic activator, and then the 3rd floor, the city is classroom with more education. But very flexible vision. So then, how do we want to grow? So you remember us speaking about the gap in square footage that we identified based on best practices. So we've identified first site typologies, and Liz is on the call with us as well. And are you hearing us?
Yep. Hi.
If she can pipe in too when she.
I'm on. I don't know if you can hear me.
I mean, I'll keep going through. I just want to make sure what she wants to pipe in. Okay, very good. So the first thing we did is we investigated the different sites for what their potentials are, and we identified 3 different site typologies. So the first was an infill site where it's really not as flexible for expansion. For expansion outside of the site itself. Park adjacent where we could extend into parks, and synergies. And then the shared sites of the co-located sites with the community center. So the really interesting and very, like, this is so exciting that we think for you all, because we don't know of any other library system that has the opportunity, is the majority, there are 13 sites that are zoned as public, quasi-public PQPs, which allow for a maximum height of 65 feet, which is 4 to 5 stories, with minimal setbacks. This amount of square footage in real estate that the system can grow is about 300,000 square feet on those 13 sites for a total of 3.9 million square feet. That does not mean that you all need that for libraries, but those are zoned for multi-use developments, affordable housing developments. So it can give you a lot of creative opportunity as a public library to be creative developers in the city. So we don't know of any other library system nationwide that has that potential. So it's very interesting. So as we look at where, one of the things that when we do this work, we look at demographic growth, but we also wanted to look at not just the planned projections for population growth, but where is that population going to grow? And really looking at that very strategically to identify where the library system will need to grow in the future. And then the second thing that we looked at was where are there community assets in the city that are either being underutilized or could be synergized, particularly after the Viva Calle event where we learned folks really want all of their community amenities in one place. So we started to identify the neighborhood center partner locations as well as the community center hubs. And so what we have developed, and this is what I think is going to be really smart for you all, is a system-wide set of opportunities and possibilities to grow in a variety of ways. And I'm going to go through these more specifically later. But first, to really start planning and prototype in the buildings now, to continue to strengthen the partnerships, to activate and optimize the facilities as the partners were excited about it, partner breakfast. To realign and recapture the interior and some of the outdoor spaces. And each star represents a level of investment that we foresee on the basis of the current age and need of the buildings. There's also, we've identified the locations that can grow on the site, locations that can grow with existing adjacent community assets. We've also identified locations that can grow with future development. And then the pink marks on the far right represent that PQP where locations can rebuild at that larger square footage amount and replace the current building on site. So it's both analysis as well as a recommendation that we've identified in that framework. So we've developed a two-pronged strategy that's both a short-term and a long-term. That again, I think it's important to develop a responsible growth strategy because capital investment these are not small numbers. So we want to develop a growth strategy that also takes into account the responsible growth that also is aligned with capital dollars that are available, opportunities, as well as operational alignment. And so I'm going to toggle back and forth with this slide and one prior. But again, just to reiterate that a way to really launch this customer experience plan right out of the gate is that the staff will start to play in prototype with creative experimentation through temporary activations, flexible furnishings, or pilot projects. Partnerships will continue to deepen and strengthen to optimize facility use. And then realigning and recapturing to reconfigure and refresh interior spaces and activate unused outdoor spaces. And then some branches will grow on site, some will grow in existing community assets, some will grow in future development. And then we've identified areas and gaps where there'll be new libraries are going to be recommended because of those gaps. And you can see how that all plays out in these two plans. And we can come back to this more later with questions. And this represents again that responsible growth strategy that right now you all have about 450,000 square feet in the branch portfolio. And the first step again is to realign the public space with the what we call the backup house space and that responsible use of how integrated libraries are being used today to activate as much public space as possible. Really looking at the gray areas of representing those strategic growth opportunities so that the grass green of adding the square footage is done in a responsible way, because those dollars are going to be the highest dollars to spend. So we want to grow in a way that is responsible again and maximizes the existing city's assets. So that you all, I think what I love about this plan for you all is that it shows a responsibility to understanding the holistic ecosystem of the community assets and puts the library in a position to really be a solution to sometimes when the city doesn't have, particularly in the community centers. I think there are RFPs to use those. And this gives you the opportunity to be a solution to some of the city's challenges. And so we've also created a very dynamic investment strategy that again capitalizes on the funding mechanism that is best used for the type of project. So the Friends of the Library would be good at investing in the play and prototype approach. The foundation, the dollars are good at those realignments and recapturing. And then major improvements are best suited for the capital and revenue measures such as a bond. And again, we can go back and elaborate on that. Our recommendation is that the approaches are assessed annually for the different opportunities that are arising and the funding opportunities that are existing in that annual budget. One of the other things that we've done for you all is to create an approach to where the capital sources are coming from, and to also always be thinking about that complement of the capital investments as well as the programming investments. And that's where you're going to find the greatest success as you develop the approaches every year. So that's, I'm going to stop here before we go into the examples. Any questions before we go into the application? Sorry, I forget I'm not on board meeting.
Yeah, I think
There's a structure.
Why don't you go ahead and continue, and then there'll be a space for the commissioners.
Okay, great, thank you.
I'm
So
just gonna check my audio. Can you hear me? Can
Yeah.
y'all hear me? Yeah? Okay. And if it's not good, just let me know. But I'm here. And I can hear y'all. Okay, so hey everybody, thanks so much. So just wanted to jump in on some of these fun examples. So we'll just walk you through a handful, and they're all kind of different types, so you can get a flavor of what different sites and different types of buildings can do in terms of our recommendations. So this is our recommendations for West Valley, where growth is anticipated in the area. The branch is currently on the smaller side for its service area. So right now the branch is at 8.25 square feet per capita, with a goal of getting to 0.75. So what that tells us is that this library needs to grow. And we can think of interesting ways to do that. But really, the first step is to play and prototype, realign, and recapture. And in doing so, we can look towards creating a destination feature. Here, we were learning a lot that the community is very into. Well, one is very multilingual. They have unique story times featuring Japanese and Persian languages. There's also a creative community interested in the arts and performance. So we've kind of come up with this pairing of an art gallery studio, maker performance space, along with a language learning lab experience. And with that, there's the potential to incorporate some of those elements, incorporate those in the align and recapture in the early phase, but then looking towards longer term development opportunities, there is the potential to grow on site through new construction, potentially in a mixed use development, and then leaning into what we've learned about this community, perhaps that mixed use development could include a large scale performance venue. Additionally, this library falls within an urban village from your general plan. While the urban village plan is still under development, it's good to kind of keep a pulse of what's happening there, because there would be or could be the potential to grow library services in future development. So we recommend kind of keeping tabs on that and exploring opportunities with the city and the development community. Can go on to the next one. Yep. So looking at Tully, with Tully, really the first thing, well, we learned through County Supervisor Young, the existing synergies of the Vietnamese community in the area between the Vietnamese American Cultural Center and the Vietnamese American Service Center, plus Tully. So what we really recommend is kind of synergizing from a programmatic perspective with these other community assets. So that's kind of your first step here. This branch is actually doing very well from a square footage perspective. And a small addition could be helpful in bringing it to a 0.75 ratio. But first, before putting that level of investment in, we'd recommend playing and prototyping and strengthening your partnerships. And then from there, then moving on to realign, recapture interior renovations, potentially featuring a garden to table demo kitchen, with Tully being so close to such a large community garden, the Coyote Creek Community Garden. So thinking about how food and culture can kind of fuse and come together here. Yep. And then looking out towards Alviso. So Alviso is also an area where growth is anticipated in the city. And currently the facility is on the older side and on the very small side. So currently the branch would need to grow by about 18,000 square feet to get to that 0.75 square feet per capita. What we really recommend here is looking longer term to putting library facilities in future adjacent development, but we're really excited for the short term here. And Margaret, feel free to chime in, but we've had the staff here is really creative and exploratory, and we think that this could be a great place for y'all to play and prototype for the next short-term period of time before you can get into a new development. But this could be a great opportunity for a high-tech upskilling hub. What we were learning of this community was like a mix of people looking to upskill, but also people, a lot of youth, a lot of children, story time, success with current programming in STEM, and then also the creativity of the staff and their ukulele story time, for example.
I've been calling this your library hackathon moment.
Yes.
It's also in a floodplain, so we don't recommend making, keep maintaining, investing there when there's so much development opportunities that are rising.
Definitely. Yeah, in new resilient development, that would definitely be able to withstand the environmental concerns. Okay, and then looking over at Bascom, so this is one of our co-located examples. Bascom's co-located with a community center. And what we were learning here, or what we're seeing in these spaces, is the opportunity to really synergize with the community centers. So how can y'all share space for programming and activation in a way that is beneficial to both parties? And at Bascom, we were considering what we had learned about the community there was, well, a library of things came to the top of what people were really interested in the community. And that kind of speaks to your demographic, your socioeconomic demographic there of, people potentially wanting to, have access to things that they may not have access to otherwise. So that was interesting for us. And we saw this unique opportunity to take your upstairs space and transform that into a maker loft. So we're envisioning the upstairs to be a maker loft, maker patio, and then a library of things, which could then allow for your family learning center and gathering space to come downstairs into the first level integrated library space that has all the core library services, so they feel less segmented. And then you've got this destination maker space up on the second floor. So that's how we would recommend kind of moving through: synergize, play and prototype, get a maker loft going, and then see how things go. And from there, you can take on a joint renovation.
Can you repeat just what you said, because we have the closing announcement within the background. So I just probably to speak to how you're talking about the synergistic opportunities for the with that. I can speak for. Awesome. Bascom, I think, is super exciting because, as you can see, it's also responsive to the community needs, but also we think this is a really great opportunity to demonstrate that synergistic approach where, as the community center and the library work more synergistically, seeing the whole building as a whole experience, not just seeing them as two different institutions that are operating these separately. This would be a great opportunity for that. So we're doing these frameworks for all of the libraries, but we wanted to show you these 4 to really represent those diverse approaches that the plan framework will enable. And so I think what's really genius about this work for you all is that it's going to give you customized options that are going to be conditional and contextual to the existing conditions, the community's needs, as well as development opportunities in the future. So truly dynamic and flexible approach. So thank you. Now we open it up for questions for the for the public.
Thank you so much. Before we move on, I was thinking as you got going that I probably should have prefaced this by just acknowledging that this is an insane amount of information condensed into these beautiful slides. And just recognizing this probably could have been a 4-hour, retreat that we went through all of this. And so thank you for condensing it to an hour And we're really hoping that we get a lot of engagement from you all. So please feel free to let us know if something doesn't make sense, if there's a question, if you have an idea for the team. Because this is really our last public meeting opportunity to have this conversation, and we're super excited to hear from all of you. So thanks for the time and the attention for the long but super packed and amazingly efficient presentation. And thank you for the conversation that's about to happen.
All right. This one, okay, oh, great, okay, all right, so before we have a commission discussion, I'm going to ask if there's any public comment.
There is not.
Okay, thank you. So, as now that the presentation is over, I will open up the floor for discussion, questions, and comments from both commissions. Commissioner Rooney.
Yeah, obvious question. I'm not sure what they budget control, where the city would get the money. I mean, all these things are wonderful, but we have a country now that allegedly doesn't have enough money to feed the poor or to take care of the sick. And an administration that doesn't show any likelihood of smiling on any of those proposals. So how much of this is federal money? And if it is federal money, what's gonna happen there? I mean, what is I'm sure you have your folks in Washington and our legislative delegation and all that you're in contact with. But this would be lovely to see, but how is it gonna be true?
Can you go back to the slide with the funding option? That's a great question, Commissioner. Thank you for that. And then it really is the critical question and why we are doing this early work. As Margaret said, we're about 10 years out from the critical point where we would need to take action on many of our buildings. So we're trying to do this early work to really get a sense of what is possible and what's the most efficient plan going forward for reusing current space, for working with partners. So all the different ways in which we make sort of, to your point, the funding stretch to meet the needs of the community. And then really identifying, are we looking at reuse spaces, which, could be funded by our friends in the library, or, maybe like what we would think of as like internal tenant improvements or changing a larger use of the space, which could be grants from the federal government. We don't actually receive a lot of grants from the federal government. We are very fortunate through our foundation to be able to work with large funders like the Carnegie Foundation and others. But also our foundation, is wonderful and works in the community to raise money for those sorts of uses. And then to be quite honest, large capital projects for the library will be a conversation at the city level to discuss what's the best approach. Is it city capital funding? Is there a revenue measure in the future? But this is a very early conversation to help inform that discussion.
Thank you.
I think you jumped to the most critical question.
Commissioner Abastida.
Hi, Commissioner Abastida here. I just wanted to point out that, and also say thank you for reaching out to some of the community leaders here, such as Teresa Alvarado. I think that's really great that you went down, into the community and you take that, positive note. More importantly, I would have to also agree with the Deputy City Manager, Angel Rios, which states people in San Jose love their libraries. It's up there with tacos. Highly important. I do agree. We do love tacos and libraries. So thank you for that. But on a serious note, I also wanted to address, your integration and your analysis on existing facilities. I do see the holes that you mentioned there, and it makes me so happy, that they will, there is at least conversations on plugging those holes. Just because I know that at least for our community libraries are a point of being accessible when it comes to internet and other resources that we offer. So that's great to see, especially expanding those services within our city.
And I will say, y'all can hear, yeah, we don't take
recommending new buildings likely. Because capital, I mean, as Jenny knows, capital investment means things break. And taking care of real estate is a really important job, and you want to represent and demonstrate that it's not just the upfront capital investment of the shiny new toy. You want to make sure that you maintain that dignity in the lifetime of that building. So when we do make recommendations for growing the real estate, it's with very deliberate intent.
Any other, Commissioner Westphal?
This may be a really basic question, but do we know the impact for each of the libraries when we are going to be reassessing and actually doing the work on them? Will they be closed? Will it be temporary access for 1 year, 2 years? Is there any type of vision as to what that timeframe will look like or what impact it will be?
That's also a great question. I love how many people think ahead to that. I'm like, but my library will be closed. So typically any type of program, if it was to be approved and forward, would include those types of measures and discussions with the community about what's available. We do not currently have things like bookmobile. A lot of libraries use a bookmobile to fill a gap when a library is being renovated or built new. We've also partnered with other entities, like you could have a library pop up at the local community center or a vacant storefront, in a nearby building. So typically it's a conversation we'd often have like with the council district about like, well, what's available in your district and with the community about what's the most accessible point. And then we can work that into your program.
I guess just a follow-up question, are some of the libraries going to be closed completely? Is that something that's anticipated while there's work going on?
We actually don't have a plan yet. But it could happen, yeah. So for instance, we do, as we reported here before, but this is actually an interesting conversation about how that actually gets implemented, because I think we talk about it as an idea, but we have residual bond funding from our 2000 bond, as we talked about. And we made the decision to allocate that funding to the Biblioteca branch. We were able to get matching funds from the state to do a larger renovation, so we're in the design process now. And when that branch is redone, it will be closed. And so we're getting to that point and starting to work with the council office to say, okay, once we know the time frame, what are the mitigation measures that we would do for the service? So it is part of the process, but we're way off for this work though. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Vice Chair Banks has a question, and I think Commissioner Mark will be right after. Oh, thank you.
Attention, the library will close to the public in 15 minutes. Please check out your materials now. After 8 p.m., the library will be available to SJSU Spartans with current tower cards until 12 a.m. Once again, the library will close to the public in 15 minutes.
Hang on.
Hello. I just wanted to, I don't know where this is gonna go, but I just wanted to, one, say this is an amazing framework. I know that as individuals who can be like very on the ground, it is hard for us to stop and think about what does our long-term work look like? What does our communities look like over time, and how are we growing and expanding those? And so I love to see that this framework is being developed. I love the additional individual, what did you name? The individual sites look like, the recommendations, sorry. And I can't wait to see what Edenville look like. I say this because something that is truly something that each one of us as commissioners, a power that we hold as commissioners is looking at how are we improving and truly investing in the communities that we represent? And it is something that is important to me, not only, important to me, but also I know is a value to my council member as well. And I truly do believe that this framework can be something that we utilize as a tool as we think about what does our community D2 look like over the next 6 months, 12 months, 3 years, because I love to see that you had there might be a community center, like little, I saw that on the little map. It's like, this would be a nice little addition. I was like, oh, that's my district. And so I was like, oh, I can start thinking about like, what does 10 years look like and maybe propose something. But I just wanted to say, I love this. I don't think I actually have any questions. And so that was more of a comment.
Well, I was, today before this meeting, we were talking about, I was asked what makes me passionate about this work. And I said, well, truly, this is a gift. You all have a gift that you're giving to your community. And I think we all appreciate, those of us who've been working on this, that this is a framework and that it will be dynamic so that you can continue to grow and be responsive to your community at different ages and stages of their growth.
Commissioner Burke, I think you, I can't see your name. And then you are next after that. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for this presentation. It was very informational. And for my question, it's on slide 28. For every 30 years, substantial investment is needed. What does the renovation look like? So for the ones that are needed in or nearing 30 years, is the renovation on the entire facility, or is it just a part of the facility, or is it just a checkup on if everything is running well?
So it's the level of the investment is typically on the basis of the facility condition. And in this plan, we're making assumptions on the basis of how old the library is, about what level of investment is likely to be made. So that again, we're at a macro level, but as one goes deeper into identifying that location is where the investment's going to go, we'll get more detail and answer that question. Implementation of it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Canfield.
Thank you for this presentation. I'm really excited to see how it grows and supports our community and our youth. A question I have is, so now that we have this recommendation that was so carefully crafted, what are the next steps to start implementing it and to make sure that, get all these awesome ideas into place?
The wonderful thing about strategic work like this is the real work happens in implementation. So, but we want to keep the momentum going. So as we've been talking, and I think this is another good slide to represent that. The first steps are for the staff to continue to really play with all the learnings that they had during the co-creation, to start getting more flexible, hackathoning with their buildings, as we were talking about with Alviso. But the work is going to be among a lot of folks in this room on an annual basis to look at where's the highest community needs, where are the funding opportunities, and how can we use this holistic funding model to continue to invest in the facilities to support the holistic service model that to continue to grow and drive for the community.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to, can't see your name either, so I'm gonna go with you and then Commissioner you, and then Commissioner Deschke. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for this informational presentation. Just really quickly, I don't really recall one of the facilities mentioning anything about serving neurodivergent students. So I was wondering if the Library Commission has a plan to make our facilities accessible and equitable to neurodivergent students, or maybe even to add on maybe like older members of our community.
I think that's a great comment, and I think we can even incorporate that in some of the guiding principles to deepen whether it's through a sensory room or through a holistic approach to folks, diverse abilities. That's a great comment.
I was just gonna add that that is a great comment, and I believe some of those costs did come out in our survey, correct? And some of the community work, so thank you for highlighting that, so we can put it.
Thank you, Commissioner Yu.
Can everybody hear me? Thank you so much for this presentation. It was really interesting. I really like everything that you're recommending. But I did want to ask, since a lot of these spaces, for example, the co-working lounge, the children's area, or the environment marketplace are going to be loud places where people are interacting. Is there still capacity for these libraries to have quiet places where people go to study or go to read? Because that's what libraries are traditionally used for.
Yes, and that is a great observation and a great question, that as we're expanding the role of libraries for all styles of learning and bringing social and gathering to create vitality and vibrancy, it's critically important that we continue to also designate quiet spaces, quiet rooms. And really another aspect of this plan is that we're looking at the ebb and flow during times of day. So some areas at certain times of day actually might be more quiet and reflective spaces, and some areas that, in the evening it might be a more active, vibrant space. So really understanding what we say, the needs of the human condition. We all need quiet spaces at certain times of the day. We all need vibrant spaces at certain times of the day. So ensuring that the library facility that's embedded in either space types or use types.
Thank you.
And then Commissioner Fishman.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just had one question relating to the graph that was between per capita, square foot, and residents being served. I was wondering if that took into consideration how many residents typically use each library or how much foot traffic they typically gain.
Very good question. That's another, that could have been another slide. And it has been an aspect of, as we've been looking at the utilization of each individual location, to also assess that benchmark metric with its utilization. Is it a high-performing library location? Is it underperforming? And that's also an aspect that informs the growth strategy.
Thank you so much.
The library will close to the public in 5 minutes. Please check out your materials now. After 8 p.m., the library will be available to SJSU Spartans with current tower cards until 12 a.m. Once again, the library will close to the public in 5 minutes.
The slide that was just mentioned, I wonder if we could bring it up, the square footage slide. I think that this is, there's so much information here, but this is one of the most powerful slides, I think, in the, or piece of information in the report, just to recognize how, the city's general plan designates that libraries should be at 0.59 square foot per capita. And since that was passed a million years ago, way before my time, I should say, so clearly a million years ago now. The best practices we understand is now closer to 0.75. And so really the city has, and even in my time, has not had the time or space to contemplate, because we've been implementing the 2000 bond. How are we going to ensure that every community has that sort of equitable access to space? So I think just having the data really helps us have the conversation, as opposed to just kind of how we feel about it or our perception. It really is something that the city has as a goal, and maybe it's something that we can talk about at the city level. So I'm super excited.
Commissioner Wynn.
Hello. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your presentation. I love hearing about this and it was absolutely informative and I love to see how the libraries are being transformed in a positive way. I wanted to ask, I noticed that many members of the community want to see the libraries transform into centers for arts and culture. But keeping in mind this age of discourse and turmoil, how do you anticipate libraries to kind of still celebrate the arts and culture while protecting members of the community from, yeah,
You wanna elaborate a little bit?
as in, what's the best way of saying this? I'd say yeah. Yeah, like a safe space where community members are protected, as in, you know, community members that are undocumented, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, thank you for expressing that. That is probably what probably keeps most of us in this room up at night. And I was, a speaker at Library Journal Safety and Security Conference a couple of, maybe about a month ago, actually. And we are talking about public libraries very differently. Safety is a very different concept today than it was even last year. And so really, that need for the public library building to be a demonstration of not just physical safety, but psychological safety and acceptance and inclusion and belonging, is probably one of the most urgent needs. I think what this plan does for you all is it gives you that as a basis. And again, I think just as your comment about the neurodivergent spaces, that's something that we can also reinforce in this work. But it demonstrates that safety and belonging and inclusion and security happen in community, and they happen in joy, and they happen in optimism, and they happen in shared activities and shared purpose. So that's what gets us up in the morning, that the public library can offer a level of enjoyment that also reinforces inclusion, safety, and belonging.
The library is now closed to the public. Extended study hours are now in effect. SJSU Spartans with current tower cards may remain until 12 a.m. All others must exit the building. Spartans, community service officers will be checking tower cards. Please have them out and face up near you. Once again, the library is now closed to the public. Have a safe evening.
Thank you, Commissioner, I'm upgrading, Commissioner Bustamante. And I think this might be our last question. We do have other items.
Chair, we also do have one.
Oh, so sorry. Okay, we'll go over to you and then you. Go ahead. Need to go into.
Okay, there we go. First of all, I love libraries. I've loved them since I was a kid. I continue to love them and Brooklyn Bills. So thank you for this wonderful presentation. My question is, do we know if the number of libraries that we have in San Jose is comparable to other cities of similar population sizes?
And interestingly, it is, which is why when we actually started digging into the numbers, it was almost two things. It was a surprise because you have the quantity of library locations. The reach is good. Your service is so good that it's hard to see where there are gaps that the buildings aren't providing. So that's why we're starting to really learn a lot from this graphic.
Vice Chair. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Hello, thank you so much for coming on multiple occasions to speak to all of us. I'm super glad to see the way, this plan has developed, and I'm glad to say that, I got to play a part in it too with the partnership breakfast and the focus groups that happened over the summer. My question is specific to the methodologies for growth that you had towards the end of the presentation. I think those are really interesting and specifically for the different branches, examples that you had for library growth in general. But my question is, are there mechanisms to incorporate feedback from underserved populations and specifically youth continuously throughout the execution of these plans, including like the play prototypes and other pilot programs?
Yes, yes, and yes. So I think, again, as we position this work, we're laying a foundation that will root these kinds of conversations that will continue to happen at when each initiative is identified to go forward. So we want to really continue the same framework that we use in this process at a micro level to continue to inform and deepen and enrich this framework.
Thank you so much.
And then Commissioner, Commissioner, one of you had mentioned. So Commissioner, this will be our last question.
Second question I'm asking today, but I want to ask if in your recommendation, there's set spaces that were going to be recommended in every single library. Because even though a lot of us are visiting many libraries in our day-to-day lives, I still think it's important for people to know if I go to any library branch, there's this program, this is a resource there that I can find.
Yes, that is actually a very good question, and I kind of brushed over this, but I'm going to go back to this this slide. So these are what we've identified as the spaces and places. These are really those consistent types of environments and programs that we've identified that would be the framework for each one of the locations. With some of the locations, the sizes and the shapes might vary, and the activation strategies of the locations might vary as well. But there's a consistent framework that is in response to the strategic programming priorities of the library system.
Thank you.
All right, let's give Margaret Sullivan and her team.
Margaret, with respect to our council liaisons, they got nothing on us here. We survived our vigorous questions for 3 different meetings. So congratulations.
Well, it was a joy and a pleasure.
With that, I'm going to ask for the Library and Education Commission to ask for a motion for my fellow commissioners to accept the report. Commissioner Abastida with a second from Commissioner Mendoza. All in favor, library commissioners say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? I will pass it on to Chair Kuczynski.
All right, so for the youth commission side, you will now motion to move on to voting to approve the facilities and customer experience plan for the Margaret Sullivan Library Plan. Do we have a motion to start?
By Commissioner Park, motion to approve this plan.
Do we have any seconds?
Commissioner Deschanel, second.
All those in favor of approving the facilities and customer experience plan, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? This motion passes. Next item, I will be introducing you guys to the education strategy report by Division Manager Vidya Kwambi and library staff. My name is Vidya Kwambi, Division Manager of Education and Learning Topics. And I'm very excited to present together with my team our highlights of our work as part of the education strategy moving forward. We can take turns presenting today, but I will begin with some background information. In May 2018, City Council unanimously approved the Education and Digital Literacy Strategy, or EDL, to ensure that the city's investment in education and learning would be aligned with intended outcomes and designed educational goals. The EDL structure, which we currently use, focuses on educational attainment areas and or plans, and includes early education, expanded learning, college and career pathways, and digital literacy. In addition, the city's first education policy was approved and adopted in February 2020. Since May 2018, quality standards were developed and adopted in each of the programmatic areas to deepen the work of the EDL strategy. Once the standards were adopted, implementation began with an assessment of each program and development of related improvement plans. This is a continuous process, and we use it to make changes to programs and adapt to community needs. Here is an overview of the program quality adoption and implementation status by plan. Most programs are ranging from as standard to advanced. Programs that are emerging are at an earlier stage of development. We have a vast array of partners: city departments, loans, CBOs, school districts, local businesses, and philanthropic partners. Our partners are integral to our work, building communities of practice and collective impact towards shared goals. Now, each of the managers overseeing key aspects of the education strategy implementation work will provide updates on several of our programs.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Araceli Delgado Ortiz, the Early Education Manager with the City of San Jose and the San Jose Public Library. This slide gives a quick overview of our early education programs. Our programs are designed to ensure that every child enters school ready to learn and ready to succeed. In fiscal year 24-25, we served 92,726 children, ages 0 to 5 and their caregivers, through 3,372 early education programs. This represents a 6% increase in participation and a 3% increase in programming compared to the previous year. At SJPL, our story times and reading to children programs continue to show the highest level of engagement. These hallmark programs nurture early literacy and learning by providing playful, language-rich experiences that help children develop foundational skills they need for lifelong learning and successful transition into school. At San Jose Public Library, our early education services are guided by a clear mission to ensure that every child in our city from birth to age 5 has access to high quality early learning opportunities that prepare them for kindergarten and for life. One of the most visible and impactful programs and ways we bring this mission to life is through our Hallmark Storytime programs. These are not simply reading sessions, they are high quality early learning experiences that model literacy-rich interactions, foster language development, and strengthen bonds between caregivers and their children. In the past year alone, San Jose Public Library has offered 8,872 Storytime programs, reaching more than 78,500 children and caregivers. Through Storytime and through their full suite of early learning programs, we're helping the city advance its broader goal of literacy, equity, and lifelong learning. At this point, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague from PRS.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Lauren Fox, Recreation Superintendent for the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Coast Services. The San Jose Recreation Preschool Program offers families and their children aged 3 to 5 educational and recreational opportunities throughout the city. We're currently in the last academic year at 15 program sites. This is a decrease of 41%, which can be attributed to the Universal Transitional Kindergarten Program, in the past academic year, all of our recreation preschool sites participated in evaluations through the Education and Digital Literacy Framework of the Quality Standards, along with evidence-based practices through the Elko and PALS, that showed an increase in adult care and participant recognition of letters. With that, for Tim Miller.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Lizzie Nolan, Senior Librarian in Expanded Learning. Ensuring that all San Jose students read and perform at grade level benefits youth across neighborhoods and is one of the strongest indicators of future academic achievement in students of all demographics. The library's expanded learning programs extend education beyond the school day. These programs include connecting the schools, academic support, and enrichment activities designed to help students thrive both in and outside the classroom. This year, we'll standardize a STEM curriculum with weekly programs across San Jose Public Library and begin on a citywide. As a city-directed, city-funded initiative, SJ Learns supports innovative learning programs for TK through 12 at-risk students. Since 2018, more than $7.3 million has been awarded to local programs. The 2022 expansion increased tutoring for students in grades 4 through 12, strengthening academic recovery and student support. This fiscal year, across 4 grantees and 18 states, 84% of San Jose Learn participants demonstrated improved outcomes in the
Good evening again. The Rock and Aces program focuses on healthy activity and behaviors for school-age children to develop and promote healthy lives and turn learning into fun. Roughly 3/4 of our respondents said that Rock for the Aces program helped them in accessing healthy foods and recreational activities. The after-school education and safety program, also known as ACES, supports schools throughout the city, but specifically transitional kindergarten through 9th graders. Over the course of the last 6 academic years, PRNS utilized the quality standards for expanded learning in California for the framework of program assessments in both the Rock after-school program and the ACES program. To note, in the last fiscal year, 24-25, PRNS is no longer an ACES provider.
Good evening, commissioners. I'm Amanda Adi. I'm the College and Career Pathways Coordinator, and I'm pleased to share information today about our College and Career Pathway programs in the city of San Jose, which aim to provide meaningful supports and opportunities to youth and adults, improve outcomes that enhance access to higher education and support goals for career advancement. In the last fiscal year, more than 6,000 youth and adults participated in over 700 workforce development or college readiness programs, representing a 64% increase in the number of participants served compared to the prior fiscal year. At SJPL, programs with the highest levels of engagement are our Teens Reach and Youth Commission programs, which provide opportunities for youth to develop leadership skills and other transferable skills through community service, as well as near-peer mentorship and advocacy efforts. Our core programs offered through the SJPL Works Career and Business Center are also among the most popular programs, as are examples of innovative college readiness programs offered by the Youth Services Unit and branch teams in response to assessments of community needs. One of the hallmark programs aligned with College and Career Pathways Supportive Strategy is SJ Works, which is offered through Work to Future and the Office of Economic Development. SJ Works provides youth ages 14 to 18 with employment services and critical life skill instruction, including leadership development, financial literacy, job counseling, mentoring, job readiness training, and supportive services such as transportation and clothing. The subsidized program, the city serves as a direct employer and covers wages for youth to participate. In the last fiscal year, 375 youth were connected with priority sector jobs through the subsidized program. Launched in 2016 in partnership with the California State Library and Smith Horizon, Career Online High School offers adult learners in San Jose the opportunity to earn an accredited high school diploma and a career certificate in one of 10 high-demand career fields.
114 adult learners were served within the last fiscal year, and 43 earned their degree and certificate. At SJPL, we are proud to have a 76% graduation rate, which is the highest in the state. The Resilience Corps is a paid job training program for young adults ages 18 to 30 in San Jose who want to learn professional skills and contribute to their community. Designed to support key areas of community resilience, the program provides hands-on experience, monthly professional development, and structured support to help participants explore careers in education, technology, climate resilience, and public service. In the last fiscal year, the initiative included 3 pathways, 2 of which are in their 5th year of implementation, thanks to ongoing support from the California Volunteers Youth Service Corps program. These are the climate change pathway managed by PRNS and the learning pathway managed by SJPL. In January, our Library and Library Foundation team launched a new pathway aligned with our SJ Access initiative, which is funded through Collectively. Collectively, participants in the Resilience Corps initiative provided more than 175,000 hours of public service to our community, making it safer in the face of climate change, providing meaningful learning experiences to students after school, and building connections for people in digital skill building and technological careers. Next, you'll hear about adult services from my colleague, Ophelia.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ophelia Medina, and I'm the manager of Hillview Branch, who oversees adult literacy and ESL programming at the library. The San Jose Public Library's adult programs continue to be a cornerstone of community engagement and lifelong learning across the city. I'm excited to share highlights from our adult services and programs from this past fiscal year, an area that continues to demonstrate remarkable growth and strong community participation. Our data shows an impressive 4,534 programs delivered to over 44,000 attendees, representing a 34% increase in participation. The growth reflects not only the community's demand for lifelong learning opportunities, but also the dedication of our staff and volunteers who make these programs possible. Our most popular programs highlight the many ways adults connect with the library, from developing and improving English skills, preparing for citizenship, exploring hobbies, staying healthy, and building financial stability. These initiatives directly support the goals outlined in the San Jose, City of San Jose's Children, Youth, and Services Master Plan, which emphasizes lifelong learning, intergenerational engagement, and community belonging. By helping adults strengthen literacy, civic engagement, and literacy skills, San Jose Public Library is not only empowering individuals, but also supporting families, creating a ripple effects that benefit children, youth, and the broader San Jose community. Our adult programs play a vital role in realizing the city's vision for a connected, educated, and thriving San Jose for all ages. Next slide. Looking closer at our outcomes, our family learning centers located in 9 branches across underserved communities provided 3,561 programs to nearly 40,000 participants. These spaces continue to be essential for building literacy, fostering connection, and empowering families to learn together. It's also worth highlighting that 34% of adult programs now focus on literacy and ESL. A clear sign that adults in our city are eager to strengthen language and communication skills to improve their education, careers, and everyday lives. And the community's response has been overwhelmingly positive. 91% of participants rated their experiences either satisfied or very satisfied. The level of satisfaction is a direct reflection of our commitment to quality standards, inclusive programming, and meaningful community engagement.
In this fiscal year, we will continue our implementation of quality standards and the continuous improvement process. Plan and implement the Leading at Grade Level initiative, align city programs with Children and Youth Services Master Plan, and implement workforce development and ESL programs through a grant from the Carnegie Corporation of New York. And this concludes our presentation on the other. Public comment. I can give you my thinking now. All right, so thank you so much for coming out tonight. We really do appreciate your input every single time. It's just, every time we see your presentations, it shocks me to see how much we've grown year over year. And ever since that bounce back after COVID, these programs have just had more year over year changes and improvements. And it really does make a difference for you telling us, and we put value in the data you give us, and we use it for all of our initiatives. So once again, thank you. Do any commissioners from both commissions have any comments? Commissioner Ramos?
I echo you. Thank you so much. With respect to, and this is a great report, thank you to for all of you, and I appreciate that you did bring in Children Youth Services Master Plan. So my question is related to that with and equity and access. So with the data that shows in the report that about 62% of families participating in early learning programs across the board together collectively are Hispanic, Latino, East Asian, South Asian, Filipino. How is the library using this demographic insight to target historically disinvested communities, particularly in the neighborhoods or demonstration sites as identified in the Children's Services Master Plan?
Thank you so much, Commissioner Araceli Delgado Ortiz, or the Education Manager with the library. I think that's an excellent question. I think, part of the work that we do in early education is looking at the data we're provided every year. Our unit has a survey every spring. Last year, we gathered over 800 different information about the caregivers that we serve in our programs. And so specifically to your question about the demonstration sites, we are often looking at the data and figuring out who we're missing, who is not in the room. So we do know that we do have some great work already going on in the demonstration sites. We have great information about the zip codes that we're serving. This year, our team is actually looking at who we're not serving. And so looking at the zip codes, making sure that there's an alignment, there's resources in place. I believe you're familiar with the British Library programs that we currently have. And so we relaunched those in the month of October. And we'll be doing some work around that, making sure that we have services. All my colleagues will be participating and offering programming. So really being intentional with the resources that we have and making sure that we are aware of not only who's in the room, but making sure that we're aware of who's not in the room as well.
Commissioner Westphal.
Thank you. It's always great to see the cross, results of everything you've done. So thank you for coming in. I have two questions. Generally speaking, it looks like the college and adult populations have seen the most growth. For the most part, in terms of the increase. Do we know what might have contributed to that from a high level?
I can speak to the college and career element. So we have had college and career as part of the education strategy since it was passed back in 2018. But in the past few years, we've really reimagined how we think about that, not sort of narrowly as synonymous with teen programming, but more broadly, how people are coming to college and career programming at different points in their lifespan, and how we are measuring and targeting services to people regardless of age, but in more meaningful ways. And it's been a big group effort to think about how we build out those programs. Things like the Resilience Corps are new within the last 5 years. So I would say the college and career pathways work, investment, and focus on workforce development as a core element of our programming has grown a lot over the past few years. Thank you.
And then the second part is there anything that we can do to create more low-hanging fruit in terms of getting more involvement at the younger, stages in life? So we have those hooks in to bring in as they get a little bit older, but it seems that even though there's great progress in that, is there anything that we can do, or are there any plans to be able to get any more programs or activities focused on that, so we can have we've had those people in the program, and how do we get them just more engaged? Might be a little bit of a different question, but how can we, or is there a focus on the earlier stages?
Yes, I think across the board, a lot of our partners are thinking more about how to get this work started earlier. We partner with SJSU on the Care Up grant as an example, where they start in middle school and are thinking about how to build in those family wraparound services, helping people understand what it takes to apply for college and all of the various college access focused programs. We also have a grant from the Carnegie Foundation that's going to help us build out some more core programming related to college access that we're really excited to focus on over the next 2 years. And a major data point that we look to understand what is that low hanging fruit and what are those priorities is actually the Youth Commission's Youth Priorities Survey. So we're really excited to see those results, and a lot of the questions that the commissioners have built into the survey this year are focused on helping us identify what those priorities might be for that area. Before we move on, I do have Ms. Bourne. I know you might have some more comments on this. Is there anything you would like to add on that one?
Chair. No, she answered the question really well. I was gonna just note that I believe the Library and Education Commission has actually requested a presentation on the Carnegie grant that the library received, which was a $500,000 grant specifically to support this nexus of youth learning and development, workforce development, and ESL learning in our community. So it's a really exciting project. And so that'll be coming back in more depth in this.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments? Commissioner Park?
This is more of a comment than a question, but I was just looking at the numbers and it seems very remarkable with a 64% increase and a 52.3% increase in college and career. And then also for early education, I know the attendance is already high at a 92,726, but we've seen an increase in both early education and college and career, and I wanted to shout you guys out for that. So yeah, thank you.
Comments from commissioners? Okay. Guess we will move on to approving the report. Can I please get a motion from the Youth Commission to approve the education strategy annual report? Motion to approve. Any seconds? All those in favor of approving the educational strategy annual report, please say aye. Aye. All those who oppose? All abstaining? This motion passes. I'll now hand it over to Chair Ramos.
All right, Library and Education Commissioners, look alive, you're almost there. I would like to entertain a motion from any of the commissioners. Vice Chair Banks, motion, second from Commissioner Westphal. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? This motion passes from the Library and Education Commission.
Yay, congrats, everyone.
Item number 6. I'm just saying, it's a little, it's a little, I'm old now, so. Item number 6 is the council liaison's announcement. And so, we will have announcements from District 1 City Council Member Rosemary Tomei and District 2 City Council Member Pamela Collins.
Thank you so much. We hope this is not working. Support the video. The video. So back to 20.
Please join us. It too is late. The mic is saying late.
No problem. I'll be very quick. I wanted to let you know that I work with San Jose Police Department. They have a program that's called Cross with a Council Member. And it was really great to be able to collaborate with one of our schools during our walk to school event on October 9th. Those are always really good, trying to encourage safety when you walk into school. I also attended the Band Books and Brews event. It was fabulous. Thank you for all those who came out, but it was a great partnership with Clandestine Brewery company. And they were just so awesome, and it was great to be able to see community come out and have this little story time and all of that. So thank you so much for those who put that together. I'm trying to figure out how to do more with education and, reach out to different schools. So recently we had a ribbon cutting of a tot lot near Mary Jane Hammond Park. And the added students from the Monroe Middle School came over to participate, engage, and they're looking to actually do more with our community. And so I thought that was a very positive thing. I also wanted to let you know about the city council approved the free use of the council chambers for San Jose Climate Smart Youth Video Competition Screening and Awards. The event is going to happen in January, but the deadline to submit the different videos is this week, October 31st. But it's also a partnership of trying to work with youth and the city. I also wanted to let you know about something that my colleague will be looking at on October 28th on our council agenda. And we're looking at limiting the use of the city's properties and facilities for city purposes. And I and a few of my colleagues drafted a memo because of concerns on the immigration activities. We know that it has been top of mind in many members of our community. And, we're hoping that the council will approve it. But like I said, it'll be before us on October 28th on the council agenda. And it's modeled on executive order by the City of Chicago government. The program is also being duplicated for facilities of Santa Clara County. So I think that we're looking for safe spaces for those in our community who perhaps have fears regarding immigration issues to find these safe spaces in our facilities. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Campos for her report.
So we have a couple of updates just on work that we've done on the council in our past meetings. So at the end of September, our office authored a memo to include McKinney-Vento data among the relevant metrics in reducing unsheltered homelessness focus area. And so McKinney-Vento is a way for us to understand how many students are experiencing homelessness in our communities. And so because it's tied to schools, there are requirements for school districts to have this information, but that wasn't a requirement for the city. So that was what we asked for, is to incorporate this data that is already being collected and make sure that it's reflected in how our city is looking at managing and solving for homelessness. We will, as a result of this memo, have a further conversation between the city's Neighborhood Services and Education Committee and the county's Children, Seniors, and Family Committee with recommendations and tactics for how we can support childcare infrastructure in our next focus area report. We talk a lot at the city about economic development, about workforce development, and, as a former preschool teacher, and we heard it tonight, right, how critical early learning and early education is to make sure that our kiddos are starting off strong when they enter kindergarten. And so I'm really excited to have that conversation with our partners at the county, and then share updates about what that partnership brings. We also recently passed a memo that asks city staff to recommend amendments to our municipal code that would allow private lots that are being underutilized to support small businesses. So this was something that happened in District 2, where we had a small parcel, that had food truck vendors operating on it, and that was not permissible by city municipal code. And so we updated that so that we can have better utilization of our spaces, just like our library is trying to do, make sure that our spaces are serving people. We also are in the middle, well, we just started a general plan review. So our full general plan review will happen in a few years, but right now we are in an update of the general plan. So it is going to really focus on the housing work. What we're doing is measuring our progress on the housing element and looking at opportunities to further our capacity for housing production. And so we had our first general plan task force meeting happen earlier this month. There will be a meeting every month through June, which is when the task force will conclude their work. We are actively seeking participation from our entire San Jose community, especially our diverse population, so that we can really understand how to meet that critical need. Our office is really looking forward to opportunities to work with our youth commission and hopefully have a focus group with our youth commission. And so the next meeting is November 12th in the City Hall wing rooms from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And you can learn more about the general plan at tinyurl.com/SJC General Plan 101. And so I've got the calendar here if you want more information, and I will pass it on to the next item.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being with us this evening. Item 7 on our agenda is the library director's report, and our library director will share announcements from the library.
I will be very brief, so I know we're going over a bit. First, we do have a plethora of Halloween events happening at the library. I will just cover 2. If you've never attended our annual Halloween parade here at King, we're really missing out. It is a huge crowd typically of little ones dressed in their finest costumes, and everyone, all the staff from the public side, sorry, I'm using my story time voice. Everyone from the public library, as well as our SJSU counterparts, come out of their offices in costume and have stations all through the first 4 floors of the library. There's a parade. It's fantastic. We are having on Wednesday, October 29th from 4 to 5:30 p.m. And then I'll also just note that you can participate in our annual Booktacular program by visiting any library location to claim a free book while supplies last until October 31st. So for more information, of course, you can visit our website, sjpl.org/Halloween. Secondly, just really quick, super important to know that we do have ballot drop boxes, 24-hour ballot drop boxes at 21 library locations. They are picked up daily and will remain on site until Tuesday, November 4th. Voting centers are now available at 8 library locations through Monday, November 3rd, and 4 additional branches will operate as voting centers on Saturday, November 1st through Monday, November 3rd. So for a list of all of those locations, you can go to sjpl.org/voting. And then lastly, since we are not having a report from our foundation, I am putting in a good word that the San Jose Public Library Foundation is going to present its 2nd annual signature author event featuring the dynamic Vicki Wen, you can see right up there, who is an NBC News daily anchor and chief consumer investigative correspondent. Vicki will share her inspiring story behind her debut memoir, Boat Baby, which you can see there. Which is a powerful account of her family's escape from communist Vietnam and her journey to become a nationally recognized journalist. She's also going to be in conversation with moderator Betty Young, which will be amazing, a Santa Clara County Board Supervisor, and they will explore themes of resilience, identity, and the immigrant experience. So the event is on Saturday, November 15th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at Blanco in San Pedro Square. please take out your phones and scan that little QR code, and that way you can find out how to get tickets. And there's more information on sjplf.org. That's the foundation's website. And that concludes my announcement. Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to item number 8 on our agenda, adjournment. Before I adjourn, I would like to mention our next commission meeting is on November 24th in San Jose Hall, Council Chambers. If anyone would like to attend, I'm coming. We have some good reports. It's always worth the time. So yeah. Motion. All right. This meeting is adjourned at 8:42 p.m. for the San Jose Commission.
All right, and before I adjourn, I'd like to mention for our Library Early Education Commission and for Education Commission, our next meeting is on November 19th, 7 to 9, back to our regularly scheduled meeting time. And with that, I will also adjourn this meeting for